Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This webinar is brought to you by Strategies 2.0, a statewide collaborative funded by the Office of Child Abuse Prevention. Today's webinar is Utilizing Relationship Building Strategies to Improve Service Interactions. The webinar is scheduled from 10 to 11:30 this morning. My name is Carrie Collins, and I am your facilitator today. I am a trainer and consultant with Strategies 2.0. My role today is to introduce the topic and the presenter, keep track of time, and help the presenters and participants in any way that is needed. In a moment, I will introduce Randy to all of you, but first I'd like to go over a few of the webinar guidelines. So all of you have a control panel, and you can open and hide your control panel just by clicking on this little red arrow right there. You also can join us either by telephone or by your microphone and speakers that you have in your computer. If you find that the sound is a little bit warbled, we would ask that maybe you switch over to telephone. That seems to have a little bit better sound to it. Just a suggestion. Now, this is the chat box that we will be using quite a bit today. Randy has a few questions that he will be asking in the webinar, and he will ask for your responses in the chat box. This is also where you can put any questions that you might have. Randy has requested that we hold the questions until the very end, but my colleague, Alma, will be monitoring this chat box, and so she will save all of those questions until the end of the presentation. So you have a choice that either Alma can read those questions for you, or if you raise your hand, we can unmute you and you can ask Randy the question on your own. So that is totally up to you. I have muted all of you today, so you don't need to worry about any of your background noise that might be going on in your office or if you're at home or wherever you are. So you don't need to worry about that because you're all muted at this point. So right now, I would like to introduce our presenter for today, Randy Dominguez. Randy has worked directly with communities throughout the Los Angeles area for over 4 years. The roles in which he has worked with residents include community organizer, facilitation of county-wide working groups, supporting residents in implementing projects connected to Connected Families, Strong Kids, which is CFSK, a child abuse prevention initiative, and developing a resident-led digital campaign around CFSK. He now has a new role, which he will tell you about when he introduces himself. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to make Randy the presenter, and he has even been so gracious as to share his camera with you today, so you'll actually be able to see him. So there you go, Randy. It's all yours.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. All right, let's see here. Hopefully, everyone is able to see my screen. Good to go. I definitely want to thank everyone for joining in the webinar today. As Carrie mentioned, we'll be going over relationship-based outreach, some strategies and ways to really implement that in your work. So Carrie introduced me. So my name is Randy Dominguez. I'm the former project manager for a resident-led child abuse prevention initiative called Connected Families, Strong Kids. I work with SBCC Thrive LA, and we're located in Wilmington, California. That's Southern California, next to Long Beach, for those that are not familiar with the area. But I switched over about 2 months ago to my new role under a new program, Innovative Economic Initiatives, as an economic development coach, helping residents of Los Angeles create income revenues for themselves through the innovative initiatives. So if they have the gift and talent, we help them develop their economic opportunities through that. But today we're going to focus on relationship-based outreach and how I was able to really utilize some of those strategies in my work with Connected Families, Strong Kids. So one of the, we're going to get into the agenda. So we did a quick introduction. We're going to go over some of the core values that really guided our work at SBCC Thrive LA, specifically through the community organizing department at our agency. We're going to get into relationship-based outreach. We're going to go over what it is, go over some of the strategies that I was able to implement, and share those strategies to hopefully you will be able to use those in your line of work. And then I will go into how I was able to translate some of those strategies into our digital campaign. So we were able to start Connected Family Strong Kids Facebook initiative, and we wanted to really engage and translate a lot of those strategies to continue having that high participation rate, both in person in the community and online. Then we're going to open it up for questions and call it a day after that. So before we really get into everything that's going on with relationship-based outreach, one of the big things that we like to do to start building relationships is icebreakers. So this is going to be an icebreaker for everyone. Usually we do this in person, so this is going to be a new thing through webinar, so hopefully it works out. But I want everyone to think of an adjective that starts with the same letter as their first name. It should describe something that you like or something about your personality. And you can introduce yourself in the chat box. You can type it in. And I want everyone to take a couple seconds to really think about the adjective. So I'll give you a couple seconds. And we're going to use the phrase, I am ... So for example, I have mine up that says, I am relaxed Randy. No matter what happens, if there's issues with the presentation, if there is anything going on, some conflict, I try to stay relaxed, try to stay level-headed. I try to really think things through. So I see that some people are already putting in their adjectives with their names. Awesome. So I'll give you a couple more seconds to really fill those in. Some really good ones on there. I see them. Excellent. Energized. All right. Radiant Rosa. I like that one. Artful Angie. Lucky Lindsay. Welcome, Kim. Awesome. I like that they're all pouring in. Great participation. Great way to start our webinar. Like I mentioned, usually this works well, and we implemented in our in-person facilitation meetings, but through webinar, through this digital webinar, this is the first time. But I'm glad to see everyone's participating. I'm glad to see that people are engaging and using the text box. Some really good ones. Cheerful. Okay, I like that one. So one of the reasons that we utilize icebreakers is to really break that ice, get people going, get people engaged, get people connecting to one another. And that's really the basis of relationship building, starting those connections, starting to see the people around. And in this case, we're not seeing each other face to face, but we can start seeing some connections, even if it is through the text box. All right, excellent. Thank you everyone for participating. Like I mentioned, today we're going to talk about relationship-based outreach. Excellent. Nice. Excellent. Thank you everyone for participating. Excellent. Thank you everyone. So before we really get into the strategies on relationship-based outreach, I want to go over a little bit of the history, what really guided our work at SBCC Thrive LA, specifically our community organizing department. There are really two figures that really stand out as the influencers, major influencers in our work. The first one, Saul Alinsky and John McKnight. So I'm going to go briefly over a little bit about them, their work, how they really influenced community organizing department at SBCC. So Saul Alinsky, an American community organizer, he really focused on poor communities in the United States. He was very active in Chicago, and he really believed in power through public action, strength in numbers, and a lot of people would say he is one of the founding fathers of current modern community organizing. And a lot of his work really influenced how we work at SBCC Thrive LA. The next one is John McKnight. So John McKnight, he definitely believed in AcidBase, really seeing the gifts and talents of our participants, people in the neighborhood. There we go. Sorry about that. He wanted to promote the ability and the capacity of people in the neighborhood and believed that change comes from the inside. Everyone has a gift and talent, a skill to share. So that is something that really influenced our work at SBCC Thrive LA. We believe instead of looking at what's lacking in a person or the deficits, we see and we try to really get out those gifts and talents, the skills that everyone has. So there's a little video clip that I'm about to play. It's only going to be a couple minutes, and the video might get a little shaky, but I really want you to take a few themes out, and that is really the gifts and talents, really seeing that acid perspective, not really the deficit. All right.
How many teenage girls are there? How many drug addicts are there? How many?
So I'm going to start it off. It actually starts here.
And if you looked at the same neighborhood where I come from a university, you looked at their research, they were always defining this place as easy. And that easiness that they defined in their research, they would define it by doing studies of how many teenage pregnant girls are there, how many drug addicts are there, how many low-code houses are there, and on and on and on. That, to me, it was apparent that you could never understand where the neighborhood, if you look at what the university were telling you to report state, because all they knew about was what's wrong. I'll use a half full glass example of that. They were always studying the empty half. They seem to have no knowledge of the full half. And therefore, I thought, my master's university, I can do this. That will be useful, will be document the full half. So we began to do research on the nature of that history that people did locally that they express. Because all university research talks about things that were wrong that outsiders come to fix. Much idea that there were assets in the neighborhood that people had to have. A lot of what could be done was done through but so the university approaches at that time that were focused on justice were studying empty half class. So we said we'll study the whole half class, and we had those assets. And those, that's how we got the name, is asset-based outreach. And we went all across the country, urban neighborhoods, collected stores, local people, about what they had done to make these then based on that we were able to hear, number one, what people have been able to achieve, able to do with their resources, about improved health, about security, about lifting up culture, about doing kids, all the things they could do, and also,
all right.
What did they do?
All right, so it seems they were having some issues with the audio, so I'm just going to summarize some of the points. Can everyone hear me? Is everyone good? Sorry for the little... Good. All right. So I'm hearing some yeses. Everyone can hear me. Hopefully the audio isn't still playing. I hear it on my end, but I'm going to summarize some of the points. So essentially, really looking at what the capacity, what the gifts and talents and the abilities of people from the neighborhood, instead of really waiting for somebody to come in and change whatever is going on in the community, whatever issues, problems are going on, to really have people in the community, people in the neighborhood, see their strengths, see their gifts and talents, to be able to change, to create that change from the inside out, and for them to strengthen their own communities, as opposed to waiting for somebody else to come in. People in the community are the experts. We want to showcase their gifts and talents, and definitely have them at the table when it comes to decision making, when it comes to project planning, when it comes to thinking of ideas of how to tackle these problems in the neighborhood. So that's essentially the key theme, some of the key themes that I want to really get out of that video. I know the audio was a little bit low. I'm definitely going to send out the link if anyone is interested to watching it on their own time. But that really influenced the work that we do at SBCC Thrive LA, not just in our community organizing program department, but also in a lot of the other programs that we have at our agency. We already saw that. Okay, so now we're going to do a little activity. I definitely try to have as much engaging activities whenever we're working with residents, working at meetings, working with communities. So I definitely want to try to have that engagement and those activities present and through a webinar. I know it's a little bit difficult. They might be a little bit different, but we're going to try it out. So right here we have our apple of my activity. There's an image. Hopefully everyone can see. I want you to study it, take a look at it, take 10 to 15 seconds to really see what's going on. I want you to keep in mind what stands out. What's the first thing that you focus on? What are some of the things in this image that draw your attention right away? So I really want you to keep those things in mind. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds. Really look at this image. What do you see? What draws your attention right away? What are you focusing on? What are some of the things that you're seeing in this image? So once you start looking at that, I want you to type it in the text box. Type in those things that draw your attention. What are the first things that you notice? What are you drawn to in this image? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of great input here. Quantity, lots of apples. People see some bruised apples. The colors, the green, the reds. Rotten apple. The contrast between perfect apples and other ones. Color of the apples, green apples, red apples, good. Excellent. Thank you everyone for participating. So a lot of people definitely saw the blemishes, the bruises, the nicks on some of the apples, and some of the people that put in their messages. One bad apple spoils the barrel. So there's a lot of things that people notice, a lot of things that people focused on, the colors, the bruising, things like that. And then that's just really going along with the message that John McKnight really tried to emphasize, is looking at the gifts and talents, not looking at what's lacking or what's the negative, but really seeing what gifts and talents, what assets are there. All these apples, yes, some of them may be a little bit bruised, some of them may not look perfect on the outside, but on the inside, they're still nutritious. They still hold the seeds that you can plant and have new apple trees forming. So they still hold that seed to give new apples and give more apples in the future. So that's essentially what we really try to get out of our acid-based perspective, our gifts and talents perspective, is that everyone has something on the inside, that little seed that we can nourish, plant, and grow to be more fruitful in the future. So thank you everyone for participating. I really appreciate all the engagement, all the activity that's going on in the text box. Like I mentioned, we try to keep our workshops, our meetings in person very active, very engaging. And I'm glad to see that a lot of people are participating through the text box. All right, so now we're going to get into relationship-based outreach and some of the strategies that we've utilized and things that potentially you can do at your organizations, wherever you work, when you're servicing clients, when you're working with people. So what is relationship-based outreach? So for us, it derives from our organizing model that we use at SBCC Thrive LA, Acid-Based Community Development, that was developed through John McKnight. So that's really looking at the assets, looking at what's there, the gifts and talents, and really building those relationships in the community. It's an approach to strengthening communities through relationships and collective action. So we definitely want to build relationships, and the end goal is really to have that collective action that comes from the community, that change comes from the neighborhood. Quality relationships are characterized by trust, support, and growth exist amongst and between people. So really having those key things, trust, support, is really going to promote that growth between the people that are in the community, between someone, an agency, an organization, trying to work with people. Relationship-based outreach focuses on social relationships. So we definitely want to build that social capital, which increases communities' productive potential. And the end goal is to develop a collaborative relationship with our community partners. So at SBCC Thrive LA, we definitely have relationship-based outreach as our key component in our community organizing department. We definitely utilize that in a lot of our initiatives. Like I mentioned, I was a former project manager for Connected Family Strong Kids, and relationship-based outreach definitely helped have our initiative, Connected Family Strong Kids, continue to be a resident-led initiative. That was something that members, residents, people in the community were tied into, and they stayed there for the long run. That initiative lasted close to 5 years, and it was based off the relationships that we took the time to really build to make sure that people were invested, that were connected to the initiative, and really stayed active in creating the different projects, different activities that were tied to Connected Family Strong Kids. So now we're going to go into our strategies. So the big thing is acid-based, not focusing on the deficits. People coming in and really participating in Connected Family Strong Kids and the other initiatives at SBCC Thrive LA offer gifts and talents. So really focusing on those assets, what people can bring to the table. And it could be something small, but building off of those small gifts definitely helps develop and grow as a person and as an initiative. So we definitely have we have people that are good leaders, and they may just not see themselves as leaders. They're great at speaking, great at gathering people, and bringing them to the table. So that's always a great thing to really focus and work on and work off of. Relationships matter. They take time, but it matters. It definitely matters to take that time and build that relationship, get to know who's out there, who are you talking to, who's in front of you, who's in the community, and really take that time to nurture that relationship. The quality of relationship is really important. If that trust and that support isn't established through the relationship, it's going to be hard to really engage with people and get them on board and really see themselves as being the potential to change the community. And this could be applied for your whatever service you provide, whatever clients you work with. Building and taking that time to build that relationship, that quality relationship, can really help out in the long run. And then that goes along with the practitioner-member relationship. Really seeing those assets that they come to the table with, viewing them as a worthwhile investment to build that relationship is going to help out whenever you're servicing clients, whenever you are working or offering services in the community. So the AcidBase, that's a really big component, like I mentioned, that was developed by John McKnight. So it's always, what perspective are you taking? Changing that perspective. Is the glass half full or is it half empty? And definitely focusing on what's the half full part. What skills, what gifts, what assets are brought to the table? Yes, we definitely see that there is something lacking, the glass empty part, but with the skills and talents from in the community, we can try to achieve that full glass and make that change in the community that comes from the community. Everyone has a gift and talent. At SBCC, at Connected Family Strong Kids, everyone has something that they could offer. We have a variety of residents from a variety of communities all over LA County, some from Antelope Valley all the way down to Long Beach, and everyone has their own gifts and talents. One example that I can provide is in the Antelope Valley, there is a lot of the participants either are deaf, so they've always been kind of shunned away from participating in the past and things in the community. But with Connected Family Strong Kids, we try to really get them involved, really show the gifts and talents. So everyone can sit around the table, make decisions, give their input, and work together as a team. So we definitely try to shift that perspective that you can't to you can. You can work on your strengths, provide something, give your gift and talent, and have your input. Quality relationships. Through our strategies with relationship-based outreach, we definitely want to build those relationships. Some of the ways that we create those quality relationships, definitely listening carefully, being present, being attentive, being in the moment whenever you're talking to residents, clients, people that you service, taking that extra step. Definitely listen carefully, make them feel like they are important. Meeting participants where they are at, so both physically and capacity-wise. A lot of times for Connected Family Strong Kids, we would meet participants in the community wherever they felt comfortable, whether it be the local park, local schools, local coffee shop that they always go to, local grocery store. Meet them where they are at. If they felt comfortable out in the community, we would meet them there. So that's a physical location, but also capacity-wise. If they didn't feel like they contribute a lot, we would start small. Okay, I see that you're a great speaker. I see that you have a great relationship with your neighbors. Let's start there. You're a great leader. You're a great speaker. Those little qualities that they may not have seen themselves as, we definitely want to highlight and observe that and really, really showcase their talents. Demonstrate concern and empathy. So a lot of times whenever residents, they feel disconnected, they feel like their life is going in a bad place, they don't have anyone to connect to, we definitely want to demonstrate that empathy, those concerns, and see them as humans, and really show that through our relationship building that we care, that they matter. So promote reflection, definitely taking time to reflect on a lot of things, the good and the bad. So promote reflection on their gifts and talents. We want to reflect on that. We really want them to see themselves as an asset, as that change, that agent of change in the community. And that goes with the observe and highlight as well. Really observe and highlight the gifts and talents and what they bring to the table. And of course, whenever you're building relationships, you always want to establish and really have that role, that those boundaries. Definitely, when I was working a lot as a project manager with Connected Family Strong Kids, people started to get really comfortable building off that relationship, and they would make calls. They would make calls, late at night about whatever issues are going on, concerns, and we really want to put those boundaries. We definitely don't want anything to be taken in a different way. So really respecting the role boundaries and setting them right from the get-go. So relationship-based outreach. For Connected Family Strong Kids, our goal is to definitely have a resident-led initiative and build a community of people, of residents throughout Los Angeles that are here to create a change, create an impact, and that impact reaches further than just our role as an agency with them, but we also want that impact to reach resident-to-resident relationships, family to parent-to-child relationships. So we wanted to go further from the relationship that we built with participants, with members, with clients. We want that trickle effect to really, really continue on. And it shows, definitely, if you build a relationship, you build that quality relationship and establish that, it trickles on. It trickles on to the way that participants, residents interact with other people in the community, within their families, and start really having that impact that we want to see in the community. High level of service delivery, building off those relationships, they feel like they matter. They feel like the time that you're taking and investing is quality, high level service. So whatever clients you have, whatever people that you work with, they're going to feel like there is a quality, high level of service. And also, when building a community, we want to have that web of support for the participant, for the members, for the families, and for the community. So building off of that impact, when it goes from practitioner to participant, it goes from participant to another participant, family member to family member, it creates that support and it trickles into the community. So that really helps in building a community through quality relationships. Every relationship has the potential to affect and enhance other relationships. So that's really one of the things that we definitely want to have, that domino effect, that be enhancing other relationships, whether it be resident with other organizations, with other service providers, within themselves, within their families, within their community. That is something that is very important, and it's something that we definitely try to achieve through our initiative, Connected Family Strong Kids, and other initiatives as well in our agency. We have other resident-led civic engagement, civic pride initiatives, and all the other programs and initiatives that we have really grow out of our relationship-based outreach approach, taking the time to build those relationships and create quality relationships. So now I'm going to go into our work with OCAP, with the Office of Child Abuse and Prevention, our digital campaign, We Are Connected Family Strong Kids, or We Are CFSK. So we had great success going into creating these relationships and creating a resident-led initiative that stemmed out of communities through Connected Family Strong Kids. And then nowadays, technology is a big thing. Everyone uses social media, organizations, different agencies that use it to try to broaden the reach, really showcase what services they provide and what they're doing out in different parts of the community. So that is one thing that we definitely wanted to also do our digital campaign, really have that sense of building relationships, but on Facebook. So our Facebook initiative is called We Are CFSK, We Are Connected Family Strong Kids. And one of the things that we noticed that it's definitely harder to really get that one-on-one relationship building online, of course, but there's some strategies that carried over that we were able to utilize. So mixing different outreach methods. We wanted to translate that relationship building that we've done and we've been successful at in the community and have it online. One of the ways is really mixing up how we outreach in person in the community, identifying leaders from the community and using their gifts and talents to connect and also carry that over into our digital campaign, Connected Family Strong Kids. So we're able to really plant that seed, show them what Connected Family Strong Kids is all about, and really invite them over to join our Facebook digital campaign. Another thing that really helped out a lot is community-specific content. We weren't going to promote or post up anything that wasn't specific to their community. The different groups that we had for our digital campaign were specific to the areas that people lived in. So we weren't going to post something that was going on in Long Beach if people from El Monte or the Antelope Valley weren't able to access. So that was another thing that we definitely started to talk about in person. And then once they were on board and seeing what was going on Facebook, we were really able to continue and get them engaged both online and in person. We're, like I mentioned, we're out in the community, so present in the community, and really shutting down any doubts. A lot of the members who were part of Connected Family Strong Kids, they're part of the meetings, part of the planning process. Their concerns were, Facebook is really just about gossip. There's a lot of things that are true. It's things that I really don't want to be a part of. But once they were able to see the different resource sharing, the different things that we were promoting on our digital campaign, we were able to really get them engaged. And like I mentioned, going off of gifts and talents, utilizing people's assets. One of the things that we also did is identified leaders in the community and used them as our Facebook coordinators. So they were our Facebook moderators. They have a big presence in the community, and we were able to really see that talent, see that gift, those assets, and have them not only be leaders in the community, but leaders on our digital campaign. One example here, or two, there's two examples here. Lynn Guzman is our Facebook coordinator for the Antelope Valley, and she goes out to different programs, different things, takes pictures, promotes them. So it's not just our activities, it's other people's activities, other organizations' activities, and that's really promoting that relationship with other organizations that are out in the community. And then that really focuses and really gets other people engaged. Catherine Orozco is a new member, so we definitely highlight them, try to have them be engaged by sharing. Catherine has her daughter in the preschool at Walls program, so we definitely want to make sure to emphasize their activity, their engagement, to have them further continue to be engaged and participate. So another thing is tracking different engagement tools. We definitely use analytical tools online and in the community. So we see what's working and what's not working in the community. Out on the field, we'll see what's working online. So we definitely try to see how many members we have, what kind of posts are working, what's not working, and really try to have those active members stay engaged. So these are just analytical tools if your organization is trying to get into utilizing social media, our digital platforms to really broaden your reach. those things really help out a lot, seeing what's working and what's not working, and it takes time. Luckily for us, we were able to really use leaders in the community, so those are the Facebook coordinators, and that has helped us grow in the communities, both online and in person. So using a blend of strategies can help out your organization, the people that you service, if you're trying to get into the social media and really promote your agency or whatever service you provide through there. Like I mentioned, analytics, that's something to always look at, see how many people are active. We've noticed a link between the relationships that we build in the community, in person, and the participation that we get online. So whenever we're out engaging in person through resource fairs, tabling events, hosting small activities at local parks, really being present in the community, that helps boost our active members, the number of active members that we have on our Facebook groups. So always keeping that in mind if you ever want to try to get into the social media platforms. It's going to take time, but it really helps out to build those relationships, in person. And I definitely see some questions coming in. We're going to take some time at the end to really go over any questions that you may have, any questions about building relationships, using some of the strategies, and translating that into online participation, social media. Okay. So now we're actually going to get into the questions. So if you have any questions, definitely feel free to type them in the text box. Any questions about relationship building, translating those strategies to our online initiative. Still, let's just share pictures online. Oh, so yes, that's one of the things through our Facebook coordinators and our participants of Connected Family Strong Kids, whatever activities they're a part of, whether it be through our own activities that we host or other organizations, we definitely get consent. So we have a photo release form at our projects and activities. A lot of times when we go to other organizations and highlight their activities, we also ask them if there's a photo release consent, if they have signs that notify the participants that pictures are going to be taken, used for social media, for websites. So we definitely get consent from participants, and we do our best. If someone doesn't want to be a part of course, we're not gonna take pictures of them. We're not going to have them be promoted on our different platforms, our social media platforms, our website, things like that. All right, let's see what other questions are on there. I think I saw a couple more. All right.
So at this point, if you have questions, please type those in the chat box for Randy. Mm-hmm. If you want to ask him in person, go ahead and click on the little hand that's in the column next to your name, and we will unmute you and you can ask your question in person.
Mm-hmm.
I think Alma was going to let you know. Alma, you're going to need to unmute yourself, though, if there were any questions for Randy. There you go.
Not at the moment. I don't see any questions.
I think there was one from Shane.
Yes, I see one from Shane. It says, how much time per week does someone spend on this online work? Has that been measured? So yes, our Facebook coordinators do spend, they have an allotted time that they dedicate to being online, moderating the Facebook groups, the content that's on our digital campaign. And then we also use the analytical tools to see when people are more active online, and we go based off that. So we noticed that our most popular times were during 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., typically on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. A lot of people were on there. So we tried to have our Facebook coordinator engaged and ask questions, put up posts, put up content during those times to get the most eyeballs on our content. But they're on it daily. a couple hours a day to really try to promote that engagement and have it become a self-sustaining community where people share resources, people ask questions, and build those relationships online.
So this is Carrie. I have a question for the group that is participating today. Are any of you currently using social media as a way of doing outreach to the participants of your program? And if so, how has that worked out for you? You can either put it in the chat box or raise your hand. Let's see if we get anybody to respond here.
Ava had her hand raised and I just unmuted her. You can go ahead.
Great. Go ahead, Ava. Oh, are you there, Ava? I think Ava got shy. Ava, did you have a question or a comment? We've unmuted you if you want to go ahead and ask that question. No?
I'm going to mute her then.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? You can put them in the chat box or you can raise your hand. We have shy people on the webinar today. Well, I guess not. Is that your last slide, Randy?
My next slide is just if anyone wants to ask those questions another time. Here's my contact information. If people are shy, they can definitely reach out to me via email, via phone call. And I think there is a comment. Comment from my supervisor actually. So.
Yes, you did.
For the support. Yes, but if anyone has any questions on relationship-based outreach strategies, AcidBase community development, utilizing social media, different social media platforms to broaden out their reach and their engagement, feel free to let me know. Like I mentioned, I switched over my role as project manager. I have a new role at the agency, but I'm still available and willing to answer any questions when it comes to relationship building, relationship-based outreach, social media engagement.
Well, here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm. What are sources of funding for what you were talking about? So we definitely have different funding sources. We have the Office of Child Abuse and Prevention that really helped us further our work and create this digital campaign that started off as an in-person resident-led initiative. Like I mentioned, Connected Family Strong Kids has been active for about 4 to 5 years. So it's gone through its evolution, and like Lisa mentioned, some of our First 5 LA has also been one of our funding sources. So we're able to utilize different funding sources for the different work that we do through Connected Family Strong Kids.
And you also have a question about Instagram. Do you use Instagram?
Instagram. So for Connected Family Strong Kids, we didn't really use Instagram. We really wanted to carry over that interactive, collaborative way that we worked with Connected Family Strong Kids and have it online. So we felt Facebook was the better platform to continue that collaborative and create that collaborative, that sense of being collaborative with one another. So Instagram, we really haven't utilized for Connected Family Strong Kids. Instagram has worked and is working better for our other programs, our innovative economic initiatives, where we have a collective of artisans and different residents who have their gifts and talents. So we're able to really utilize pictures to tell their story. But for a collaborative approach and people working together and building relationships, we felt that Facebook was a better platform to utilize. Is there a fee for using Facebook? Oh, I saw there was one question. For a business? No, anyone can create their own page for whatever business they have, for whatever organization they have. So that is, there is no fee. Of course, if you want to buy advertisements to further your reach, you can do that. But to just set up your page and really get that business page or organization page, there is no fee for that. I saw there was something else here. Any tips in using Facebook versus Instagram? We've had much more success with Facebook, but increasing IG followers has been a struggle. So definitely telling a story. Definitely Instagram, really connecting to whatever story, whatever the purpose is that you want to portray. That has definitely helped us, like I mentioned, with my new role as economic development coach and innovative economic initiatives. Really showcasing those stories has helped us out a lot. You can use tags, whatever tags are appropriate to your line of work, utilizing them. For us, it's been a lot using the tag collective, home crafters, artisans, and people that click on those tags can see what's underneath those tags. So if you're really trying to increase your Instagram followers, utilizing storytelling, really getting that purpose across through pictures. Pictures, can definitely speak volumes. So trying to increase your followers can take time, but using tags, things like that.
So Shay Reserve has her hand up. I'm going to unmute her so that she can ask her question. Go ahead, Shane.
Hi, Randy. Thanks so much. I had two comments. One is that I asked the question about how much time someone is spending on this online platform, because it really does take time, and you have to be kind of strategic. Yeah, and you have to be kind of strategic about it too. I had a job, my previous job before I worked with Strategies, was running an after-school program, and my supervisor came to me and said, I need you to start posting on Facebook at least 3 to 4 times a week. And at first, I just was really overwhelmed by that and thought, how am I going to do this on top of all the rest of my work? But then, of course, it kind of became second nature. And that you can set up posts for in the future, and there's all kinds of tricks and tricks for using Facebook. My question, I want to go back for just a second though and ask you how it's great to be relationship based, and we all know that you're more effective when you're relationship based. But how do you? And someone else actually asked, how do you fund some of this? Because it takes more time to be relationship based. You have less time for paperwork. You have less time for the mechanics of the job because you're spending more time talking with folks. And so I was just curious if you had any tips around that.
Well, for us, Connected Family Strong Kid, definitely focus on the child abuse prevention and really focus on the prevention side. So really selling that point. How can we really help and prevent the effects, all the trauma that comes from child abuse prevention and neglect, or child abuse and neglect? So really focusing on that point. It's better to be on the side of prevention and helping families not get to the point of child neglect, child abuse. So that really has helped us when it comes to funding sources, getting people interested, getting people to see what Connected Families is all about. I guess really taking the time beforehand to see what's the purpose of your work and how can it really benefit. And then for us, another big component is that it's resident led. So like I mentioned, our whole asset-based approach is really utilizing the gifts and talents, the assets that are coming from communities. So I think that has really benefited us to get people to look at what's going on and what naturally evolved in the community.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments for Randy? Just want to give all of you plenty of time. Alma, do you see any other comments or questions that we need to address?
No, I'm scrolling down and I don't see any.
Okay. So, Randy, I think I'm going to turn this back over to me.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate the participation, the engagement.
So what I want to share with all of you is that Strategies 2.0 now has a YouTube channel. So if you go into YouTube and then you put in Strategies 2.0, you will not only see this webinar, but you will see all of the other webinars that we have had in the past, our whole library of webinars. You will also see the recordings from our learning communities that we have throughout the state. And the series of webinars that are now going on, I believe 3 out of the 4 of the Vehicles for Change webinars are also on this YouTube channel. So we invite you to click into that and check out what we have. Randy is now a famous YouTube star. We're really excited about that. So, and then finally, we want to thank you all for attending today. We know that you have a lot of other work that you need to do, so we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be with us. An evaluation will be sent to you automatically following this webinar, and your feedback is very, very important to us. And also, you will receive the copy of his presentation today, and there's a handout that he provided for us that you will also receive. I believe Alma will send that out to you within the next couple of days. So as you can see, Strategies is also on Facebook and Twitter, and our website is www.strategiesca.org. And you can see the variety of webinars that we offer, the trainings that we provide at no cost to you throughout the state. I know probably many of you we have met in our travels. And so we appreciate you being here today. And with that, we will end today's webinar. Are there any last questions? I see a lot of thank you, Randys. Just great job, Randy. Thank you so much for being a presenter for us today. Okay, so I'm going to end this for everybody. Until next time.